Denny, and welcome back to the Perkins Perspective. It's a little channel that I've set up where I tell stories, make fun of myself, uh, tell funny stories about my family and the way that I grew up here in Northwest Alabama. I am, in order to tell the story that I'm going to tell today, I've got to tell you a little bit of family history. Now, I come from a military family. My dad served in Vietnam, where he was awarded a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and he was awarded Valor. So he did a lot while he was over there. My grandfather served in the Army in World War II. He was deep in the thick of things in Germany. Myself, I served in the Air Force for nearly 10 years, and in order to tell the story that I want to tell today about my contribution to the Darwin Awards, I had to let you know that. Now, this all started out with me just getting bored one time when I was a small child. I didn't know any better, or I was just plain stupid. One or the other. You make your decision. I'm leaning more toward the stupid part. But anyway, we used to have a wood-burning stove in our house to heat our house. And every summer, us boys would have to split wood, stack the wood, get it ready for the summer. Well, we were doing that, and my dad decided that he wanted to go ahead and put some on the porch, or on our carport. We call it a porch. So while he was toting that, we had gotten finished splitting the wood and stacking it. We decided to go in the house for a little while and take a break. Well, my genius self got bored and decided that I wanted to see what would happen if I took a .22 bullet and I put it on the ground on a rock and I hit it with a hammer. Not very smart, huh? But I got it through my head, and that's what I was going to try to do. So I snuck outside with the bullet. My dad wasn't paying attention. He was toting wood and stacking it on the porch, on the carport. And I took the bullet and I put it on the rock. I grabbed the sledgehammer and I hit the bullet. Pow! It went off. Don't know where it went at the time, you think. Oh, but it went. What had happened, well, my dad was coming across with an armful of wood. The bullet shot out of the casing and hit a piece of wood that he was toting. Now, this is the man that got a Purple Heart over in Vietnam. So he's a little antsy toward gunfire, if you get my drift. Well, the first thing that my stupid mind said was run. Well, I'm just sitting there just a pumping my feet. I wasn't moving an inch. Well, my dad was on me like a hen on a June bug. He grabbed me up my belt loops and toted me in the house where there wouldn't be any witnesses. He got me in there and I toted the worst butt whooping I ever toted in my life. And I deserved every lick that I got from that. You would think the story would end there, but no. Because me and my younger brother, he's another genius in a lot of my stories that I'm going to tell. Because me and him, we did not make good decisions in a lot of things coming up. We did stupid things. Well, we decided, well, if it works so good with a sledgehammer, what would happen if we taped it on the end of our BB guns, and would it fire? Well, we put that to the test like dummies. We went down into the field, which we didn't own at the time. I own it now. And I go down there and I think, and this is one of the first stories I think about when I go down there. We went down there and we taped the bullet on the end of the BB gun. We cocked it and we pulled the trigger, and sure enough, pow! We were standing in front of a little pond and there wasn't even a ripple in the water. And we just looked at each other and we were, where'd it go? What in the world? Normal people would have said, oh no, you don't know where this thing's going to go. Not us. We're too smart. as he laughs. Now, what we did, we went ahead and put another bullet on the end of it, and we did it again. Pow! Still nothing. Well, the man that owned the field at the time heard 2 gunshots go off down in the field. He come running, and yes, he told on us. And yes, we got lit up again. Now, I'm telling you these stories as a kind of a thing to pass on to our kids, so our kids can pass it on to their kids, so they can say, look how crazy and ignorant our papas were. You know, and I don't think that I ever learned any more valuable lesson than I learned during this little foray, because it happened within a day or two apart. But we were taught then not to do this stupid stuff, and I hope you learn not to do it too. And I hope you take something from this. And I hope that your kids, if they are listening to this, know that when you strike that and it lights that prime, it's going somewhere. It's going somewhere. Now, on that day, I could have lost my dad. I could have lost myself. I could have lost my brothers or my sister or my mother. And I look back on it now, and it was just lucky. We were lucky. Now, I have another story that I want to tell real quick. And this is concerning my grandfather. I love my papa. I have, and I will always love my papa. He's not with us anymore. God rest his soul. But my papa would look at us kids and just go, what's wrong with them? He would, and a lot of stuff that we did with his help in a lot of ways. He would tell us stories about stuff that he did in the Army, and he would tell us things that he got away with when he was in the Army, and stuff he didn't get away with. But I'll get into all that later. Now I would just like to kind of introduce you, because now I've told a couple of stories about myself and how special I am, to put it mildly. I'd like to introduce you for future reference to the Perkins side of the family. That way, when I mention a name, you can kind of say, okay, well, he told us about them. On my Perkins side of the family, there was Vera and Linwood Perkins. That's my grandparents. Papa and Granny. They had 3 kids. They had Daddy, his name is Joe. They had Uncle Tommy, and they had Aunt Sheila. Now, Daddy's married to my mother. Her name is Gail. Uncle Tommy married Aunt Phyllis. Aunt Phyllis had, and Uncle Tommy had 3 kids, Jason, Michael, and Amanda. And I'll be telling stories about them too. Aunt Sheila and Uncle Terry had 4 boys. They kept trying for girls, never could have a girl. They had 4 boys. Kevin, Keith, Timmy, and Rhett. Now, this covers all of us. I'm not going to get into all of the grandkids and all that, because there's a pile of us. But you'll hear me mention those names a good bit. Now I want to introduce you a little bit to the Burridge side of the family. The special side. There was, I have to go all the way back with them, because there was my great-grandmother, Velvy Gray, Granny Gray. Granny Gray raised Aunt Marilyn. Aunt Marilyn was Mama's oldest daughter. You had Mama and Papa Burridge. That was Maudine and Jim Burridge. They had a pile of kids. They had, let's see, the girls was Aunt Marilyn, Aunt Jackie, Aunt Dicey, and Mama. Aunt Marilyn, Aunt Jackie, Aunt Dicey, and Mama. Yeah, I have to count it all up. And then the boys, there was Uncle Jerry, Uncle Beaver, Uncle Mikey, and Uncle Johnny, and Uncle Larry. There ended up being 10 kids in all. Now, with these, they had various children of their own, and there's even more of them than there are the Perkinses. But the main ones that you'll hear me mention in my videos are going to be Jennifer, which is Nunny. Nunny is Mama's clone. They are just alike. They have the same attitude and same outlook toward life, and it'll tickle you to watch them together. Then you've got mainly on Eric and Chris. I used to run around with them a good bit coming up, so yeah, there are going to be stories about them too. And that's going to be a lot of it. Jimmy Ray is my Gaga's oldest son. We all looked up to Jimmy Ray. He was a lot older than us, and we looked up to him, and he was an influence on us coming up through. But now this is just a little introduction into the family, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that in future videos that when you hear these names, you can click back and say, oh yeah, he told us about that person. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to watch a few of my videos. If you like what you see, just go ahead and subscribe. Welcome to the group. Welcome to our lives. And I hope that just something that I say or do can make your day just a little bit brighter. And I hope when you look back at it, you look at your family and say, if these crazy people can make it, anybody can. But I also, through my stories, I want you to understand one thing. I have a motto that I live my life by, and it's not served me real well all the time, but it does serve me, because then I have to think about what it is and I have to go back to it. And that is, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. Anyway, this is the Perkins Perspective. I'm Denny. I hope to see you again. I hope that you come back and you visit us regularly. If you decide to do so, welcome. If you decide this ain't for you, that's fine. I love you anyway. Anyway, y'all have a great